Thank you, students, for joining today's class from Mercy Technologies. Greetings from Mercy Technologies. So we are into our class 8 today. We are into our class 8 today. So till yesterday, we were able to learn few things that were interesting. We were able to see some pictures of what happens internally. We were able to represent something pictorially that this is what happens when a class is loaded. When a class is loaded. Before I, okay, maybe I would like to give you the topic of discussion for today. The topic of discussion for today that is static initialization block. That is static initialization block. Let me quickly write it down. Static initialization block. That we call it in short form as SI. This we call as SIB. This we call as SIB. So, which is fine. By the way, this is a very interesting topic, and you get so many. You get to know about a few things to learn about along with this topic in our today's class. Before I jump into what SIB means and what are the rules associated with this one, I'd like to take a small a revision of whatever we have learned in our yesterday's class, which is class number 7. I'd like to just revise it on a very high level. On a very high level. Yesterday, I told you that we were speaking about different variables. One of such are the static variables. I told you that static is nothing but static can either be a static member means a static variable or a static method. That is something that actually belongs to a class. That is something that actually belongs to a class. I've given you one example of taking blackboard as an example. And non-static is nothing but that is per object. Per object. Okay, it is not per class, it is per object. So example is having a pen for one student, having one book for one student, that is non-static, but having one blackboard for the whole class, so that is static. That is static. So yesterday I told you there are two types of memory. One is a stack memory and then a heap memory. Heap memory will be like a hard disk. Stack memory is nothing but RAM. Okay. And then what happens is there are 6 important points that happen when you load a class into memory. There are 6 important points. Whenever we are running a particular class, the class is loaded into stack memory. Which memory? It is loaded into stack memory. When a particular class is loaded into stack memory, all static variables will be loaded into stack memory. All the static variables will be loaded into the stack memory. And then they will be initialized with default values. And once the members or like static variables are loaded with default values, the reinitialization happens from top to bottom, top to bottom. And then when a particular class is loaded into stack memory, all static methods will be loaded into stack memory. All static methods will be loaded into stack memory. And then finally, JVM will start executing the main method. Yesterday, we have seen various programs to demonstrate all these steps in action. Okay. And then I told you that there are different names for static members. They are class members or say global members or universal members. Okay. So this is a quick revision. You may ask, why did I take a revision? Because today's class is a continuation to whatever we have learned yesterday. So without any delay, let's quickly learn what are our points to be considered for today's class. Sir, SIB has 3 words: static, initialization, and block. Okay, and block. I know what is static. Static is something called per class. What is initialization? Initialization is nothing but initializing some value. This also we have seen. What is block? What is block? What is block? In programming, if there is any piece of code between the open parenthesis and closed parenthesis, okay, and closed parenthesis, that is called as a block. That is called as a block. Any piece of code that is inside this open parenthesis and closed parenthesis, that is called as a block. But now, sir, you're saying it is static initialization block, right? Static initialization block, right? Very simple. I'll put static and then open parenthesis, and then closed parenthesis. Now this becomes a static block. Let me write a comment over here, static. Okay, static block. What is block, by the way? Whatever is written inside this, whatever is written inside this open parenthesis and closed parenthesis is called as a block. And if you put a static keyword on top of a block, then that becomes a static block. Then that becomes a static block. Very simple. Very simple. And sir, you're saying initialization, right? Initialization, right? What is there inside this block? Generally, this block contains initialization logic. Okay, generally this block contain the initialization logic. Okay, that is the reason why we call it as static initialization block. So yesterday we have seen 6 important points, right? In our class today, we have a few other important points. Let's quickly take it down. Let's quickly take it down. And there are 8 points to be in particular. So let me take one by one. Let me take one by one. So important points related to static initialization block. So first point is static block are used to initialize init, initialize global variables. Okay, so when I say global variables, what are global variables, by the way? Global variables are nothing but static variables. Yesterday we have seen, right? These are global members, right? So here, what I'm saying is I'm trying to initialize static variables or global variables, or we have one more, universal variables. Okay, so we are trying to initialize the global variables as part of our static block. This we already know. Let's quickly go to the second point. The first point we have already seen. Second point is static blocks are executed when class is loaded into memory. Which memory, by the way? Stack memory. Okay, when our static blocks executed, they are executed when the class is loaded into memory, which is nothing but the stack memory. Okay, this is an important point. We'll be seeing the programmatic example, by the way, but just remember that when are these static blocks executed? Executed. So another important, very important point, generally can confuse you many times, is static, or I can say I'll use SIB are executed only once. So SIBs are only executed once. Okay, we cannot execute SIBs multiple times. Initialization means giving the initial value. Initial means the first value. That value is done only once. That is what you can remember it as. SIBs are executed only once. Only once. So that is fine, sir. That is fine, sir. So with this point, let's understand one more thing. We can have multiple SIB. We can have multiple SIB in a class. We can have a class, and that class can have multiple static initialization block. Initialization block. Okay. What is the fifth point? What is the fifth point? SIB are executed from top to bottom. From top to bottom, and at the same time, as per our point number 3, we can even say executed only once. So they are executed from top to bottom, and they are executed only once. Okay. Okay, so sixth important point, SIBs are, or I can say, can be placed anywhere in the class. In the class, even though Java has a provision of putting SIBs anywhere in the class, recommendation but the recommendation is to place SIBs in the beginning. I'll be showing you an example in the program, but you can think that SIBs can be present anywhere in the class, but the recommendation is to place them in the beginning of the class. In the beginning of the class. There are two very simple other points. Let's take them down and then right away jump into programming. Right away jump into programming. SIBs are executed before main method. So we know that main method is called by JVM. So what I wanted to say is even before JVM calls the main method, SIBs are executed. SIBs are executed. So one last thing which is totally unrelated, but I want to write it down here so that you'll not miss your understanding. JVM will start executing main method. Okay. JVM will start executing main method. Let me write method over here. Okay, method over here. So that's it. These are the 8 important points related to static initialization block. And there is nothing else to be learned as part of static initialization block. Right? These are very, very simple, very, very easy points that you can actually remember. So let me quickly go and try to write a few programming examples so that I can demonstrate what I actually taught you as part of our important points in our class till now. Okay. So let me quickly say class, or before that, I want to make the language as I want to make the language as Java. Okay, I'd like to say class SIB1. Okay, SIB1 open parenthesis and then closed parenthesis. Now I should write public static void main static void main. So I have written public static void main. So there is string array of arguments. Okay, so let me open the parenthesis and then close the parenthesis. This is the main method. And we are all good with this main method. We are all good with this main method. Here, I'd like to print a very simple thing. I would like to print a very simple thing. So first, let me do that. System dot out dot println. I just want to print something like this. Okay, what is that? Sorry, from main method. Okay, from main method. That's it. That's it. I do not want to do anything else. And I want to save this one. Let me copy the class name. I want to save this one in Mercy 2025. Mercy 2025. So here I'd like to say .java. Okay. So when I do this, I'm able to run or I'm able to save this SIB1. So what is the next step for me? I have to quickly go here. I have to quickly go here and open the command prompt. So I'd like to say CMD. So I'd like to say CMD. I'm maximizing this so that everyone can see this. I'll say Java C. I'll say Java C. Java C class name dot Java. So I don't have any compilation error. So let me run this. Okay, let me run this. So when I do this from main method. Sir, what is there in it? This you have been teaching since the class 1. So it is nothing but just like our first program or our first Java program. You thought the same thing here. Yeah, I know that. But I just wanted to make you understand that I'm printing this line from the main method. Okay. Now let's go to the actual learning of what we have planned for today. What are we trying to learn? We are trying to learn about static block, right? We are trying to learn about static block, right? What was the syntax? What was the syntax? What was the syntax? I should just say static, and then whatever is there inside this is the content of static block. So I'd like to say static, okay, and then I opened my parenthesis and my closed my parenthesis, which is fine, So here what I want to do is I want to say from static block copy. Here what I want to say is from static block. Or instead of this, I'd like to say from SIB. Okay. So I'd like to say from SIB. So I want to save this. I want to save this. I want to save this. By the way, there is a rule that says that we have already written. What is that? What is that? SIBs are executed only once. Here, SIBs are executed before the main method. SIBs are executed before the main method. So as per this rule, even before we get from main method on console, we should be getting from SIB, right? Because SIBs are executed before main method. That is what we have seen. But is it true or not? Are we satisfying the rule or not? Let's try to understand. Okay, let's try to understand. Okay, let's try to understand. Java C. What is this? This is my class name. Copy dot Java. Yes, I don't have any compilation problem. I'll say Java class name, enter. And now you can see from SIB is getting printed first and then the main method and then the main method. If you go to our rules, what I said is SIBs are executed. SIBs are executed. Oh, that's not below, it is before. SIBs are executed before main method and JVM will start executing the main method after the SIB's execution is completed. After the SIB's executed is completed. So we are able to see all these 2 points in action. But let's try to take a little bit more complexity for this program. So there is one point that says we can have multiple SIBs in a class, right? We can have multiple SIBs in a class. So I want to take one more SIB. And then what is the other thing? What is the other thing? Okay. What is the other thing? SIBs can be placed anywhere in class, but it is recommended to place them in the beginning. So there is one SIB. I'd like to take one more SIB. So I'd like to say static block. Here also this is static block. I want to say static. Okay. Open parenthesis, then closed parenthesis. So I want to print, what do I want to print? Here, maybe I'll just say SIB1. This one, I'll just say SIB2. That's it. Okay, this one I will say SIB2. This is system.out.println SIB1, and this is system.out.println SIB2. Okay, so I want to save this one right now. There is no red color over here, which means it is saved. So let me clear. Okay, so Java C. This is SIB1, copy SIB1 dot Java. So when I do this, there is no compilation error. So Java, and then you can see we are getting the output as from SIB1, from SIB2, and then from main method. So what I wanted to say is even before the main method is called, SIBs are executed and SIBs are executed from top to bottom. One more rule says SIBs can be placed anywhere in the Java code, but it is recommended to put all the static blocks in the beginning of the class. So we have satisfied all these rules. And one more thing is executed only once. Till now, we did not even call the SIBs, but we can see that they are executed only once. So all these rules are going hand in hand so that they are eventually making us understand the concept of SIBs in a clearer way. So by the way, we are able to understand one more concept in Java, which is sorry, one more concept in Java, which is SIB. Okay, so let's try to do, or let's try to understand this SIB concept using one more program, which is again a very simple program. I want to create one more program, and first let me take it as language Java. I'd like to call it as class SIB2. Okay, I'd like to call it as SIB2, and then open parenthesis, close parenthesis. As always, let me write the main method public static void main So here it is string array of arguments. Okay, of arguments. So open and then closed parenthesis. So we have this main method. We have this main method. So 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 before I do anything in this main method, before I do anything in this main method, I want to do something like this. Static int age. Okay, static int age. Maybe I want to initialize that age as some value called, let's say 10. Okay, I want to initialize that value as some value called 10. Okay, I'm doing the initialization part also as on line number 3, which is very good, which is very good. Now, I want to introduce a static block. I want to introduce a static block. So I'd like to say static block. Okay, so how do I do this? Static, open parenthesis, closed parenthesis. So what am I trying to do in the static block? What am I trying to do in this static block? I want to initialize this. Maybe I want to reinitialize this. You can say age equal to, let's say, 20. Okay, so I just have initialized this one. But for my understanding, I want to put some system.out.println statement. System out dot println statements. So I want to print something like this. So I want to say from SIB. Okay. So from SIB, and then I want to even print the age also. Let me, just for my understanding, I have to print the age also. So I'd like to say age equal to plus age. So I have to print the age also, which is which is very fine, Now here in the main method, as we have already done in our previous class, let me do something like this. So it is from main method. So this is from main method. We are printing that we are in the main method. And I want to print the age also. So I want to print age also in the main method. Okay, in the main method. Now, very simple. We have a class. I have a variable, a static variable called age. I have it initialized to a value called 10. Okay. Now, in the static block, I'm initializing that value to be 20, and I'm printing before I initialize that value in the main method. Again, I'm printing the value of age. Let's try to understand, or let's try to run this program and see how the output looks like. So I copied SIB2. I'll say file, save as, and I would like to say .java. Yes, I have this SIB2. Let's quickly go Java C SIB2.java. So when I do this, I don't have any compilation problem. Now I'd like to say Java SIB2. So when I do this, let me quickly copy the output, which is an expected one. I want to paste it over here and show it to you line by line. So first, even before the main method is called, we will be going to the static block. This we have seen as part of one of the rules. Okay. Now here I'm printing what is the age. On line number 3? I have initialized that to a value called 10. That I'm printing. Yes. Now main method is called, but before the main method is called, this is from SIB. This is age. And now we are initializing the age as 20, right? Now the value of age has become 20. And after the execution of static block is completed, JVM will say, I want to call the main method. Okay, the JVM is calling the main method. Now we are able to see that this is from the main method, and then age is now becoming 20. Why is it becoming 20? Because in static block, we are able to initialize that value to a value called 20. This is how simple. This is how simple the static initialization block concept is. Okay, I'd like to write one last program, which is a combination of the things that we have learned till date. Okay, so that you would be well versed of whatever we are trying to learn as part of our today's class. Give me a second. As part of our today's class. Now, without any delay, let's go to the next program. So I'd like to say language Java. So I will say class SIB3. Okay, SIB3. I'm opening the parenthesis, closing the parenthesis. As every day, I'd like to say public static void main, static void main, and it has a string array of args. Sorry, Control Z is the shortcut. Void main. So it is string array of arguments. So open parenthesis and then again close parenthesis. Okay, we are good all till now. We are all good till now. All good till now. So what are we trying to do in this main method? Let's say, let's say we don't want to do anything right now, but I want to do it in in stages. So again, what I want to do is I'd like to say static. I have a variable called int age equal to, instead of calling it, let's say 10, instead of doing it like this, I want to call a static method. I want to call a static method. Maybe I will say it as init age. Okay. Init age. I want to call a method called init age. I want to call a method called init age. Then you'd ask me, sir, we don't have the static method, right? Okay, that's fine. Let's introduce a new static method. I'd like to say, static method. Okay. So I'd like to introduce a static method and I want to call it as static int. What is the method name? It is init age, right? It is init age, open and close. Then I want to write something in my init age method. We have a static method, right? We have a static method, right? So I want to write something in this. So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to print something. System dot out dot print. So I want to print something. So what is that? Maybe I'd like to print it as, I would like to print it as, I would like to print it as, I'd like to print it as from init age. From init age method, age method, just for my visual representation. Okay, just for my visual representation. And I want to even, print what is the value of age. I want to print even what is the value of age. What is the value of age? What's the value of age equal to plus age, which is again good, which is again good, which is again good. And I want to initialize something, right? Instead of putting the initialization here, I'm just returning some value, right? So I'll just say return 20. So I'm just returning value of 20 in the init age method. I'm just trying to print what is the age and I'm returning the value of 20. I'm returning the value of 20. So why do we need to leave the main method just like that? I would like to, I would like to, I would like to, I would like to print the same thing in the main method also. So this is from the main method. So this is from main method. And then I want to print the age also over here. So students, it's very simple program. I have a method, a static method, which actually returns a value of 20. That 20 will come and will be set to this value of age. Okay, that I'm printing. So I'm trying to find out what is the age in the init age method, and I'm trying to find out what is the age in the main method also. So let's try to save this and try to understand how the output works. Copy. I'd like to say file, save as .java. Yes, I'm able to save this. I'm able to save this. Let me quickly compile this code. I'll just say Java C file name .java, which is all good. Java, then file name. Now you can see, I'd like to copy this. I'd like to copy this. I'd like to copy this and show it to you. So from init age, this line is getting printed. Why is this line getting printed? Before even the main method, even before the main method, a static block. Just give me a second. static block will get executed, but we don't have a static block. But if you remember in our yesterday's section, first all the static blocks will be, all the static variables will be initialized with the default values. And once that is done, as part of class loading, we will be reinitializing the static.
Sir, unmute your mic.
Hello. Students, were you able to hear my class previously?
No, sir.
Hello.
No, sir. No, sir.
Since when you were not able to hear the class? Can someone please message? Yes, second 30. Students, did you stop hearing me recently? Okay, last 2 minutes we can't hear your voice. Okay, then it's fine. Then it's fine. I don't know how this mic got automatically. Maybe I used my space bar and then my mic got automatically shut down. So, uh, can you please confirm if you're able to hear me right now? Please confirm that you're able to hear me right now. Can you please? Okay, okay. Sure. Thank you. Yeah. Since it's only last 2 minutes, maybe I'd like to just repeat just once more. I'd like to repeat this program once more. I'd like to repeat this program once more. So what is this program saying? What is this program saying? So I've written a main method. I've written a main method. So before I write in the main method, what I did is I've written system.out.println statement, and I'm just printing it is from the main method. Okay. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to print the age. What is this age, by the way? Age is a static variable of type integer. Okay. So we are initializing the age. We are initializing the age by calling a method called initAge, which is a static method, which is a static method, which is a static method. Okay, we have seen the output something like this. We have seen the output something like this. I'd like to copy this. I would like to copy this. I'd like to copy this and would say init age. Why is this coming from init age? Because is this method is called as part of the static variable initialization and part of class loading only. When the age is initialized to a default value, as the next step, we are reinitializing that value by calling the method that we have actually mentioned. So you can see this. You can see this. Yeah. Once the static variables are loaded with default values, reinitialization happens from top to bottom. Because of this rule that we have learned in our yesterday's class, because of this rule, our method is being called.
Sir, I cannot hear your voice, sir.
Uh, it's Students, please confirm if you're able to hear me now. Again, I don't know why there is why there is this mic problem. Okay, fine. Let me continue. Maybe I'll put it like this so that I also can see if my mic is getting turned on or off. Okay, fine. So we have this static initialization block. As part of this static initialization block, I'd like to have very simple system.out.println statements. I am copying this and I'm pasting it over here. So what is this saying? From SIB, from, or I'd like to say SIB start. SIB start, SIB start. And then I'd like to say SIB end also, SIB end also. Before SIB starts and ends, what I want to do is, this is, this is, this is never to be done as part of our programming practice, but just for the learning purpose, I want to call the main method. Because I know JVM will call, but I want to call it as well. I just want to see what happens. And I'm calling it with by passing the arguments as null. Okay, by passing the arguments as null. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to call the main method. I'm not calling, JVM is not calling the main method, but I am calling the main method. That main method is over here, which is 18, which is on line number 18. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I saved this SIB3, and so let me compile this one right now. I'll just say, okay, I'll say Java C. What is the class name? It is SIB3 copy, and this is SIB3.java. So when I do this, I like to say Java SIB3. What happens? We have some output. Let's copy this and try to understand what happened as part of our today's program. So what is this? From init age, from init age. Why did this one get printed first? Why did this one get printed first? Because as part of the variable initialization, the control will come to init age, and this from init age will be printed. Before the reinitialization happens, all the static variables will be having default values, right? What is the default value of an integer variable? Yesterday we have seen that is 0. Because of this, our age is 0, or and this in this particular place. Now we are returning a value of 20 from init age, right? Now we are returning a value of 20 from init age. So from now onwards, the value of age becomes 20. Value of age becomes 20, becomes 20. But but will we call the main method right now? No, it's not like that. No, it's not like that. Before the main method, only SIB will be initialized. SIB will be initialized. So SIB will be called, it is SIB start. So I, as a programmer, want to call the main method. I'm not allowing, or I'm not asking JVM to call it right now. I am only calling with null as the string array of arguments. Okay, I'm calling the main method. When I call the main method, so here it says from the main method, and the value of age is 20. Why is the value of age 20? Because we already have initialized that value. And at the end, now the SBI is SIB is also ending, which is fine. Now JVM also will be calling main method, right? Even though I call, that's fine. JVM doesn't care. JVM will also call the main method, and eventually we'll be printing the same line just once more, which is from main method, and we are not doing anything with the age right now. So that is why we are able to print the age as 20, age as 20. So even though this program looks complex, even though this program looks very hard in the first instance, we are doing it slow by slow, slowly, chunk by chunk, bit by bit. We are trying to understand what is happening internally. We are trying to refer to the rules, whatever we have written. We are trying to refer to the rules that we have written yesterday and even today. We are able to mix and match everything, play around with this, and try to understand whatever we had as a part of our agenda for today, which is static initialization block, which is static initialization block. Let me stop. I'd like to say, yeah.